and welcome to another Pobble Digital Challenge. In this challenge, we're going to be using Adobe Express to create a newspaper front page about the drowning of Atlantis. Now, I've written my newspaper article using the writing prompts on this Pobble activity. If you need free Adobe Express for Education accounts for your school, just follow the link that's at the bottom of the screen right now. And there, you can also see the other free things we do for schools, like teacher training, lesson packs, and live lessons. Okay, let's get on with the challenge. Here we are on the Adobe Express homepage, and on the tab next door, you can see that here's my Google Doc with my newspaper write-up ready to go. Now, you may have that in handwriting in your exercise book, but you'll see me copying and pasting from there. Right, to make our newspaper front page, we are going to click on the big green tile that says Create a Graphic, and that's going to open the Adobe Express all-in-one editor. The first thing we want to do is set the mood with a background. So let's click on Elements, and we're going to go to Backgrounds, and let's search for paper and find a texture that we like. Now that we've started our project, it's probably a good time to name it, so click in the top left and rename your file. It's time to give our newspaper a name, so click on Text on the left-hand menu and choose Add Your Text. Now then, in this text box, add your name for your newspaper, something like the Atlantis Times perhaps. And then you can go searching for a font that you like for your newspaper. You could use View All under the recommended fonts and scroll through there, or you could use the drop down and search, or if you know the name of the font you'd like to use, you can even start typing that in and it'll show you those fonts in the results. Let's pop the newspaper name up at the top of the page. And what about a suitable icon next door to it? Maybe something like waves. So let's go into the elements and scroll over to the icons and let's search for a wave icon that we can pop next door to the name. That looks great. Next, I'm going to underline my newspaper name with a simple line by going into Elements and choosing a line from the shapes. Now the line has been put on my page and it's in this very light grey. So let's change the border colour to black. And then let's bring up the border thickness. And how about using a newsprint inker border style for that, so that it looks a little bit untidy and messy. Cool. Right, let's underline our newspaper name at the top. That looks great. Okay, next we're going to add our headline. So my headline for this newspaper article is "A City Lost Forever?" ? Right, so let's duplicate this text box where we've got our newspaper name. So select it, 3 dots, duplicate, and now I'm just going to copy and paste. So Control-C, Control-V, that headline in. I'd like this to stand out even more than the newspaper name. So what I'm going to do is add an outline to this text. A nice thick outline. And I'm even going to change the outline color to black as well. There we go. So it looks like a really thick printing of that headline. It really stands off the page. Right, that looks great. What should we do next? Well, let's go and create an image for this. We want to see a city drowned under the waves. So let's click on Media. Now, you could search photos, but I think we're going to need to generate a brand new image using AI. So I'm going to click on Generate Image. And for this, I want to fill the width of my page. So I'm going to go for a widescreen image. And in here, I'm going to type a prompt of what I'd like to see. And I'd also like it to be black and white. So I'm going to include that in my prompt as well. So there's my simple prompt. Now I can also choose what kind of style I'd like. So if I go into something like techniques, I quite like this lino cut. I think it's going to give me that old school newspaper effect. When I click Generate, Express is going to show me 4 different options for my prompt with that technique that I've selected. Whoa, these look absolutely incredible. I think that first one is my favorite. So I'm going to select that. And now I'm going to resize this image and make sure that it fills the width of my newspaper. Maybe I'll just keep a little bit of the paper visible on either side. Well, doesn't that look fantastic? Now, I would like this white to actually be the same color as my paper background. So there's a quick trick for that. Click away from your picture, click back on it again, and now we're editing it as a photo. And on the left-hand side, you'll see the blend modes. If you choose a multiply blend mode, it'll keep all the darker parts of your image and make the lighter parts see-through. So now we can see our paper texture through the image itself. Looks amazing, right? Okay, it's time to bring in our main text. So let's duplicate our newspaper name again, 3 dots duplicate. Let's bring that down. I'm going to roughly guess how big I want the font to be for my article. I'll be able to change that later, no problem. Now, I also want to change the font to maybe a font that isn't all caps like this one. So I'm going to just search for IM Fell again. And let's see if there's one here that doesn't use all caps. Here we go, one like this. Looks great. Okay, now then, it's time to go over, grab my entire article. So maybe you're typing this out if you've got it in your exercise book, or maybe you're copying and pasting it like I'm doing if you've got it on a digital doc somewhere. And I'm just going to paste that into that text box. There we go. Now, it's still too big, isn't it? So now's the time we can resize our text box. And here's where you do a little bit of fiddling with these long handles where you change the shape of your text box, and the corner handles, which is going to change the size of your font. And what you want to do is just get that text to nicely fill up your whole front page. Now, newspaper articles don't usually have center aligned, so let's click over here and align our text to the left. Brilliant. And there we go. We have just made a really cool looking newspaper front cover for the Atlantis Times. Now then, what are you going to do with this once you've finished? Well, you can download it if you want to print it out by clicking on the download icon, and you could choose PDF and print. Or if you want to store it in your digital files, maybe you keep your work on a Google Drive or a OneDrive or in your J2E files, then you could just download it as a PNG and drag it in wherever you like. Alternatively, you could click on the share button, hand it in directly to Google Classroom or Teams if your school uses those, or you could create a view-only link so that anybody who clicks on that URL sees your published newspaper article on the internet. Well, thanks for joining me. I hope you've had fun. I've had a lot of fun making this newspaper front cover, and I hope I'll see you again on another Pobble activity soon. Bye for now.